This is Sky Square from Action requesting fire mission danger close in Grid Square. Shortly.
What's up, Third ID? This is Sergeant First Class Jay Johnson, female type. See, I'm not even used to it already. I am the platoon leader of 2nd Platoon Bravo Company Night Stalkers, Night Stalkers. And I am actually graced by another presence today, and he's been in the unit maybe a couple months longer than me, I think. A Mr. Sergeant First Class Hermanson.
Yeah, I have been in the unit a couple months longer, and don't you forget it. Hi, everyone. Sergeant First Class Hermanson here, male type, and the only one, last time I checked. Platoon Sergeant for 2nd Platoon Hellhounds up in Alpha Company, and happy to be here. I've been dodging this for a while, so I suppose it's time I face the music.
Yeah, no, you can run, you can hide, but I'm not going to get you.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right into it. We're actually coming near the middle. This is that middle of our Operation Brightstar. There are war games that are taking place in Germany where we're basically building relations with different coalition forces everywhere from Canada to Australia to Iranian military, everywhere. We're just doing some war games and increasing our alliances with them. My war game was last weekend. We actually went against the 82nd Paratrooper Division of the Israeli Airborne. And it was a hostage situation, and we ended up having first platoon pull away the majority of their army and away from the opposite flank, and the second platoon was airdropped in near the southern flank of it, about 2 kilometers out. We assaulted the objective and captured the the HVT. And that was Mission Home 1 as designed by yours truly. And we have, on the Arma side of things, Sergeant Hermanson here has made his own.
Yeah, that's right. So last week, obviously, it was Staff Sergeant Drake created his own there, and that was a lot of fun. For those of you guys who weren't in Alpha Company, we basically were doing a cooperation with the German Bundeswehr, and we got to use some of their, crazy German weapons and all sorts of exciting stuff. And so a lot of the guys had a lot of fun playing around with that kind of really alien equipment that they'd never been able to handle before. Coming up, it's actually going to be my responsibility to make the next one. Anyone who knows anything about modern military operations will remember the Battle of Fallujah, where the second battle, to be precise, where the U.S. Marine Corps and elements of the U.S. Army, as well as the Iraqi armed forces, went up against a heavily entrenched enemy inside a urban area. My goal is going to be to emulate that kind of a situation. So you're going to be seeing urban combat of the bloodiest kind that we just don't really get too often here in the third. Everyone's kicked down a door and seen a guy behind it, but my goal is to have, windows covered up with sandbags, machine gun nests pointed at doors, booby-trapped buildings, lanes of death, lanes of fire. I mean, really hardcore, ugly, house-to-house, brutal urban combat. So, dust off your battering rams because it's going to get ugly.
Sounds like something Black Hawk Down style.
Yeah, that's definitely took a little bit of fucking inspiration from that.
Funny thing is, I only recently saw Black Hawk Down about, I want to say a month ago. First time I've ever seen it.
Well, you have no excuse. It came out in like 2006.
Yeah, Captain Cantu, when I went over to his house, he decided, you haven't seen it yet? He plopped me down on the couch, gave me a bunch of food, and popped the movie on. And I was like, well, if you're going to keep me here, that's what you do.
It's a pretty good movie.
It was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if I had a nickel for every time someone referenced that film during operations, I'd have at least $1.50 at this point. So now you're the cool kid. How does it feel?
Well, I mean, now I know all the references now, and he got me into the show Band of Brothers. So
it's one of my favorites.
I'm
Don't let
getting
Lieutenant
addicted
Worrell
to
hear
it.
you, because that's his favorite TV show. So if Lieutenant Worrell hears you're watching it, he won't stop talking about it.
I'm 4 episodes in, and I gotta admit, it's pretty addicting. That's a good show, and I'm probably gonna catch the next ones when I go down there visit a couple months.
Have you seen The Pacific?
I don't think so.
That's like the sister series. It's about the war in the Pacific, obviously, if you couldn't figure that out from the title. It's real good. A lot of people say it's worse than Band of Brothers. I think it's equally good, but good in different ways. I'd say Band of Brothers has much stronger characters, but the Pacific, I think, has more of a it's more introspective. I think it makes you think a little bit more about the war and what it does to people. Whereas Band of Brothers is more about how characters react under pressure. They're both interesting and incredibly well done in their own way.
Funny thing, I think the earliest movie I saw when I was a lot younger was Jarhead, where it was the first movie I ever saw that had a realistic depiction of war. And I think I was like 12, 13. My dad took me to see it, and I still miss that movie.
You saw your first movie when you were 13?
My first realistic war movie.
Yeah, for me, I've got you beat on that one for sure. First movie I can remember watching, I was like 3 years old or something, Saving Private Ryan.
You know, we had that movie, and I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't really understand that it was happening. So it's like, it was probably just, oh, he blew up, he got shot.
Yeah,
and when I went back and looked at it, it was like, wow, there's a lot of gore.
Same shit with me. I distinctly remember, the scene at the end where they're fighting in the town and they're making sticky bombs out of like socks and TNT, right? And they're tossing them at the tank. I remember asking my grandmother, I was like, "Grandma, why are they throwing socks at the tank?" Because I didn't know what the fuck was happening. But
why did you sound like your grandma?
you know what? Okay, all right. You know what? But yeah. So I like to think that experience made me the man I am today. So there you go.
Okay.
Still playing
good.
war games. Fucking 18 years down the line.
18 years down the line, now you're leading the war games. All right, so we're going to move on to promotions this month. As you all know, promotions happen every month. It happens.
I hope so, yeah.
And I like to give a formal congratulations to all our PFCs, our specialists, our corporals, our sergeants out there who got promoted, because it's actually all the lower enlisted that makes the upper enlisted, that makes all of us enjoy ourselves, and we make all you guys enjoy yourself. Without you guys, we'd just be sitting here being bored, doing nothing. And that's why we take sacrifice of putting so much time into the unit, so that all you guys can have a good time. And we thank you all for being here and putting time into the unit like we do.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't have an effective combat element without the grunts to carry the guns around. Having guys up at the top to make the plans don't mean anything if you don't got people to do the plans for you.
But this one soldier in particular, who attained the highest rank this last month, was a Sergeant M. LaFontaine, was promoted to Staff Sergeant. He is currently in the position of Squad Leader of 2nd Squad Roughnecks, 2nd Platoon Hellhounds of Alpha Company. Now, That's one of your guys. You know more about him than I do by far, so have a little speech about him.
Yeah, I sure as hell do know him. I remember he came in just a couple months after I actually first took command of what is now his squad, the Roughnecks. I remember he struck me as a pretty squared away dude at the time, and he had a pretty meteoric rise through the ranks. Eventually, a team leader position opened up. We put him in there, and once I moved up to Platoon Sergeant, he was the logical fit for, taking over. At the time, we had Corporal Wiley as my 2IC, but he had some commitment issues, and he had already made it clear to me that he wasn't interested in the position. So Laff stepped up to the plate, and I think he's done an admirable job. He's consistently proven himself to be one of the best squad leaders in 2nd Platoon, if not the unit. I think, as squad leader, both you and I know how it feels moving on from the squad and sort of taking on a higher position. There's always that concern, is the guy who comes next to me gonna keep it going? Are they gonna do a good job? Like, is the squad gonna stick together? And I think, sometimes we get it right when we name our followers, and sometimes we don't. And with Laff, I can say with 150% confidence that I did name correctly. He's done a great job. The dedication that he's put into working for the unit has been incredible, not just in terms of what he's done for his squad, but also what he's done for COE. He almost single-handedly runs all of our server and maintenance operations at this point. So, that in and of itself would occupy a lesser man's entire time. And that he still finds time to make his squad one of the best in the unit. So for that, I think he's absolutely deserving of the rank we promoted him to, and I expect to see him continuing upwards.
Can't wait to see. Actually, I know for a fact he's going to be around. He's going to continue to impress nonstop. So, Staff Sergeant LaFontaine.
Soon to be starting first class, if I have anything to say about it.
We'll see about that in 3 months.
Yeah.
You going to go anywhere? You going to leave us? Oh, come
Well,
on.
that's the trick, right? I mean, I'm headed off to college with a bunch of the other guys, so we'll see how things play out. But I'll be doing my best.
We'll see. Now, we're going to go on to the next little talking bit. Arma game changes. Now, you did tell me that you had something good that you had. Arma's been doing a lot of stuff apparently, and I'm actually kind of curious to see what's been going on.
Yeah, so I will admit, I kind of misled you a little bit. The last month or so has been pretty quiet in terms of Arma updates. There's barely even been a few patches out. But that's because of something that I personally am extremely excited for, and I think most of us in the Arma community are super excited for, which is Arma's second really big major overhaul DLC. The first one obviously was Apex, where they released a whole new map to Noah, a ton of guns, factions, a whole new campaign. I mean, a ton of stuff, right? They're getting ready to launch within the next few months what they call the Jets DLC. It's one of a 3 DLC package. The next 2 are going to be released sort of in the months following. But Jets is going to, first of all, just add a bunch of really cool new vehicles. Some close air support fighters, some air superiority fighters modeled after the F-35 and the Sukhoi. It's going to add an aircraft carrier, like a working, usable, serviceable aircraft carrier, which I think is going to be super cool. And also under the hood, which I think is exciting, especially for our brawlers and just anyone who's a flying aficionado. It adds a total and complete overhaul of the way that in-flight radar and target tracking works. So without getting too into the nitty-gritty, because half of the stuff I don't understand myself, as it stands right now, Arma Radar is very arcadey. It's basically you have a magical mini-map on the bottom of your screen, and it shows you where your enemies are and where your friendlies are in the shape of little dots, right? Red or green dots, depending on enemy or friendly. The Jets DLC is going to make it much more realistic in that it's going to add a variety of different tracking radars, so you'll have active and passive radar, sort of countermeasures, radar detection that depends on which radar you're using. So, for example, active radar will easily ping back your location. Passive radar will pick up on active radar pings, but won't pick up on silent. It's all very complicated and all very advanced and realistic. And so I think for those of us who either enjoy flying, as I know some of my friends do, or for those of us who are just fans of the air support that we get, the Jets DLC is going to be a great addition to the game. Personally, I can't wait.
I'm actually curious to see if you guys are going to have some more fixed wing that's been brought in.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
The first time I joined this unit, I must have been a PFC. Yeah, I was PFC. The first time I saw Warrant Officer 4 Lars he was at the end of the runway and he was in A10, and I saw him just shooting down the runway and fly off into the distance. And I remember asking, I forgot who I was asking, but it was someone. It's like, who's that? Oh, that's Lars. He's the flight commander. And all I see on the opposite side of the map is like Hellfire missiles and machine gun fire in the distance, just lighting up targets all over the place. And then it just comes back and lands. And that was the first time I ever saw that guy in fixed wing.
I have a more vivid memory. I actually had my ass saved, I think. I think it was an Apache. I forget what we were doing, but we got fucked pretty hard. I think half my squad was down. Most of the platoon was gone. I was some lowly, private first class, so I was scared shitless. I had no idea what to do. And then all of a sudden, the enemy position just erupted in flame, and I was like, "Whoa! Like who did that? Like who? What did we do?" And someone just kind of pointed off into the horizon, and you could see just out there in the distance a little Apache hovering over a hill. And that was my first experience with air support. And damned if I ever forgot
it. Honestly, I remember there's something I always liked about you. I remember when I'm always Zeusing something, or I'm like running a Zeus operation, and I spawn an Apache, not an Apache, but an enemy hind, or I spawn like some air vehicle. I love the panic on your voice whenever you see it, because you'll be in the open, and I'll spot a hind like 4 kilometers out, and I'll just tell it, go over there and scan the area. And then I'll hear on radio from you, of all people, it's like, enemy hind, we need support airplane, get in the cover, oh gosh.
They scare the shit out of me. I mean, come on, can you blame me? They
can
kill you before you even know they're there.
Scatter and jump to the nearest cover they can find.
Yeah, that's the one thing I made sure to drill into them. I mean, that's just get behind something. But really though, I mean, you'd have to be a fool to stand in the open and look at an enemy attack helicopter and say, "Oh yeah, no, that looks fine. There's nothing unusual here." You
But
know?
the reaction you gave is always hilarious because you just put so much life in there. I can hear the fear in your voice from just. Oh man. I remember, like, when it comes down to it and you can't get air support in a while, we just say, all right, lay down on your back and shoot up as much as you can. Just put as much fire up on that thing as you can, because even smaller fire does something.
I remember we were up on a, you know, those giant ass towers they have in Arma, like those big metal ones that you can stand on. These big towers. We were on some mission and we were standing on one of these towers and we got counterattacked by a gunship. And it was flying straight towards us and like launching missiles all around us, and they were, you know, whizzing past our heads. And we had nothing, right? We were completely exposed on top of this tower. We were about to die. And so I just say, "Everyone, open fire!" And so we all just start opening up on this chopper. And then all of a sudden, I just, you know, the chopper just goes, just shoots off into the sky and smashes into the ground. We were like, "What happened?" And we look at the kill feed, and it turns out that our saw gunner actually nailed a lucky round right through the front cockpit and killed the pilot. So, yeah, aim for the glass, and you never know what might happen. But yeah, that's the fastest way to wake me up. If I'm ever like asleep on like Overwatch or something, just do a helicopter flyover.
Yeah, everybody just looks up and goes, "Wait a minute." You call in platoon command and say, "Do we have any friendly choppers in the area?" No, we don't. Get in cover, get in cover. Oh man. But on to the next game changes. America's Army. Talk about those game changes. Now, not Operation, but Sandstorm has been announced to be coming on the PS4 this summer. As stated by them, we are pleased to announce that we are bringing APG to the console world again. Our PS4 version will be open in beta soon and will launch fully planned with the summer. We have made a number of changes to make the playing of America's Army on the console the best console version of the game yet. Maps will also support 8v8 combat and all weapon traits. UI and gameplay has been adapted significantly for the PS4. So look forward to seeing that in summer. I don't think they've given a date yet, but you can ballpark it around July, maybe. So we'll be seeing the console in a little bit.
So here's a question: if they're linking that with a PS4, do you know if that means that console players are going to be able to play with PC players? Because I know that some games have done that. You know if there's any plans for that in the future?
I know a lot of games do it, but they haven't mentioned that was going to happen yet.
Probably because PC players would clean the clocks of console players.
That's for 100% sure. Mouse and keyboard superior.
I remember there was some talk. You know Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Of course.
Yeah. I remember there used to be talk way when that was just launching. They were like, "Oh yeah, console players can play with PC players," and I don't know what idiot thought that was going to be a good idea, but they pretty much scrapped that before that ever happened.
You would get absolutely rinsed. Like
absolutely destroyed.
I played Skyrim all the way through on my mouse and keyboard, and it was whatever. And then I tried to play again through the same game with console, and I can't hit an arrow shot to save my life.
Yeah, no, it's impossible. And when you play Fallout in console, you have to use VATS, because God help you if you try to actually shoot something with iron sights. Whereas if you play it on PC, it's like, you just iron sights. Here's a tricky shot. I might as well pop open VATS once in a while, but it's a completely different experience.
Same thing with GTA. It's terrible using that little dot.
Yeah, although console players have auto aim, so you just
crosshair
gets sucked to the enemy.
The right,
yeah,
everything
magically
dies.
killed him. Yeah, it's like, I press the button to play the game for you.
Jeez. And moving on to other topics, Insurgency, they don't really have too many game updates that came out so far. They're really pushing this Day of Infamy. They've been doing weekly Twitch streams from Karamut and Andrew Spearin. So if you're actually curious, and the one on, actually they have one with 3rd Infantry Division tag on one of their helmets. And Day of Infamy is just Insurgency except World War II. So that's pretty much the only difference. So if you're interested in it, go check it out. Same creators of Insurgency. But that's all they're pushing so far. And that's our game update section.
Became Southern for a sec then.
Game update.
That's our game update section.
Yeah, on my texting just showed for a little bit. My bad. I'm gonna put it back down where it came from. And right. All right. So we'll talk about our events coming up. So we have several. Several events, and this is known as our commercial section. So we're gonna just dive right into it, and we're gonna start putting it out there. Friday Night Fights. Friday Night Fights is a TBT event hosted by Phalanx and Arma 3. The entire night is dedicated to adversarial games. Multiple Arma groups participate in player counts averaging 80 players. If you're looking for a good fight with good people, come check it out. It happens every Friday at 1900 Eastern. You need to have your CBA, your TFAR, your ACE, CUP, and RHS. Just log on to TeamSpeak anytime around 1945, and we'll put you in a group and we'll get you going. Friday at 1900 Eastern Standard. Wednesday Night War Games. Wednesday Night War Games hosts a midweek co-op session for anyone who's interested. The missions are vary in number depending on how many people are attend the event and what you're going to be doing. Most of the missions will be in-house missions, meaning we make them ourselves, whether it be through Zeus or the actual editor for a specific night. This happens every Wednesday at 1800 Eastern. You need all the mods that you're on the Realism server, and you can just show up and go. There is you're currently in the middle of Operation Die by the Sword, which is currently made by Staff Sergeant LaFontaine. So if you want to go play that, I hear a lot of good things about it. Go check it out. Go see it. Wednesday, 1800 Eastern. Throwback Thursdays. Miss those old A2, A3 maps like Weapons Cache, Collapse, Urban Tunnel, Urban Assault, Water Treatment, Pipeline Dust, HQ Raid, Farm Raid, or Insurgent Camp? Look no further. Join us every Thursday night for Throwback Thursdays on America's Army Proving Grounds. Every Thursday at 1900 Eastern Standard. Just join the TeamSpeak channel and Throwback Thursday server, and we'll put you in the match and we'll get it going. Draft Night. Towards the end of each month, we will be hosting APG and Insurgency Draft. This event is to anyone in the unit. Captains are chosen at random, and anyone from a commanding officer to the lowest ranking recruit. The captains will choose a team from their pool of players. We'll choose a team from the pool of players one at a time until teams are full. Once the teams have been made, there's a double elimination tournament. Teams will play each other, fighting for bragging rights for that month. Draft nights will be held on different nights for each game, so keep an eye on the forums for the signups. And that's our commercial section. Dun dun. So now we're going to move on to schools. And I think you've attended EIB, haven't you, Sergeant?
That's incorrect. I actually never managed to make it to EIB.
I thought about doing it a couple times, but I honestly just haven't had the time to go.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get around to it for a while, and I think I feel kind of vaguely guilty for not doing it, especially considering that a lot of my really squared away, competent, sort of lower enlisted guys have attended and have even gotten True Blue in a few cases. But yeah, it's getting tougher to string the hours together, So my goal is still to attend at some point. I've just got to find the right time to go. It seems like we're hosting it pretty consistently nowadays, so next time it comes up, maybe.
All right. So the next one coming up, actually, now that you mention it, it is open to prior first class or higher. Must be able to complete both days recommended by command. Have drive and discipline mustered in for the week, and qualify expert on your rifle exam. You must attend both days, and I'm trying to find the dates for the event on this. Oh, this will be held on May the 13th and 14th at 1200 Eastern. The course has been condensed into 2 days instead of 3. EIB is presented for the completion of this course of tests that is designed proficiency in infantry skills. Completion of this course will give you the right to wear EIB on your ASUs, your duty uniform, and bragging rights. If you complete all required requisites with no goes or goes, you will be considered True Blue and you will receive extra promotion points. Now, moving on to the next one, Long Range Prison Course. That's hosted by First Sergeant Gilmore. The Long Range Prison Course is also hosted by Sergeant First Class Gilmore. And this all means First Sergeant Gilmore.
Sorry,
I almost demoted him. Now, on May 27th and 28th at 1200 Eastern, they'll be hosting a rotation of the 1702 class of the Long Range Precision School Designated Marksmanship course. The weapons that we use are the SR-25 DMR rifle And the course will consist of range estimation, target detection, ballistics, night shooting, unknown distance qualification, and alternate shooting positions. You must be private second class or higher, must be able to attend both days, recommended by command, have a drive and discipline, and mustered in for the week. You must qualify expert during the course. Even if you scored expert before the course, you have to shoot expert again. When I did it, I had to shoot twice in a row, and I think I got 38 both times. Like I could never hit higher than 38. Ugh, something stops me from doing that. And the War Leadership course coming up, there's going to be two different sessions. One session is going to be on the May the 13th and 14th, happening at 1300 day respectively, and May 16th and 15th happen in 1900 respectively, more for the EU players and American players. If you ever want to achieve a rank higher than sergeant, then you have to take the course. It's one of those mandatory things to do. It is it teaches you how to be a better leader and how to lead soldiers, not only in this game but in real life, because a lot of the instances that I've learned taking that course, I was able to apply in my real life working day.
Absolutely.
And there's several courses that are open. They have WLC, AOC, and even First Sergeant schools falls into that thing. But this is your entry level qualification, and I know you've taken that course.
Yes, I have, obviously. And I should concur with what you just said as well. It's an absolutely essential course, I think, not just in terms of leadership development, which goes without saying, but also I think in terms of overall life skills. It never hurts to know how to effectively lead people. And most valuable, I think, was what I learned about how to lead those who don't want to be led. Any schmuck can take over a group of motivated, competent men and point them in the right direction, but it takes genuine, experience and hard work to learn how to do it with people who aren't necessarily as motivated as you might hope. And that happens sometimes even in this unit. You get that new private who's just not quite into it, or he doesn't know if he wants to be into it yet, or you get the old guy who's burning out a little bit and needs to kind of be edged back on track. But in life, it happens all the time. I mean, doing a school project and your classmates aren't on board. You're doing that, a work project and you've been assigned the worst guy in the office. It's an important skill to have. And I think learning how to deal with those situations is a key factor of WLC, and absolutely something I encourage everyone to go and brush up on.
Could have said it better myself. Well spoken.
I try my best.
That concludes our schools. Now we get to the best part that you really want to be here for.
That's a matter of opinion.
So we're going to the Man Behind the Ranks section. Now, if you are a first-time listener, or you never heard the show before, or you just didn't care, Man Behind the Rank is a section where we get to know people. You see them leading your formations, you see them calling all the shots, or leading the meetings, or even just playing around the Realism channel. But you kind of nervous to talk to them, because you think, hey, they might be a jerk, they might not be cool, I don't want to get in trouble, whatever.
Hey, for some of us, it's our job to be a jerk.
Some of us, yeah. Being a platoon sergeant, we got to lay down the hammer.
Yeah, absolutely. We're the strong hammer of the law. That's us.
And then the platoon leader picks you up, cleans the dirt off you, gives you a cupcake. Let me slap the cupcake in the dirt.
And assign a 1,000-word essay just for good measure.
Yeah, that too. And so this is to give you an insight on the person, so to let you know, hey, they're people too. They have lives. They have families. They have jobs. They have everything else or whatever. But are you ready?
Yeah, ready as I'll ever be.
Okay. So what's your first name?
I'd be Ethan.
So who named you that?
My parents. Last I checked. I
hope
so.
One of them had to have one of them probably suggested it, and the other one was like, cool.
Yeah, I don't really know actually. The etymology of it never struck me as too important. I think it's a minor biblical prophet. Last time I checked, I'm some like asshole on page like 562, or some random random dude who like shows up and shakes Jesus's hand or something. I don't know, but I kind of like it in a way. I feel like if you get named after after someone really famous, right? Like let's say you get named, I don't know, you get named like Lincoln or something, right? I feel like you'd go through life with a chip on your shoulder, feeling like you have to do something to live up to that. And if you don't, it's always like, when you introduce yourself to people, you're like, "Hey, I'm Lincoln," and people are always like, "Oh, like the president." It's like, no, not like the president, like me. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
get
it's
you.
kind of nice to not have such a ubiquitous, like, world famous kind of name. It feels like it's not
What a
taken yet, if that
coincidence!
makes
My
any
middle
sense.
name is Joan of Arc.
Seriously?
No,
Oh, okay. I was like, that's quite a name.
that'll be weird. Jasmine Joan of Arc Johnson.
Kind of has a nice ring to it, though. You got the
Yeah, she
alliteration.
does. Yeah, this was weird. Mom, name me Joan of Arc. Do it. Redo. If someone can name themselves after like a cat, then I can name myself after
Cat's name
Cat
Joan of Arc.
Ochocinco. You're a football
Oh,
fan.
not.
What's your favorite food?
Depends on the day you ask me. Day is steak. Yesterday it was pizza.
It just depends on whatever's sitting in front of you. That's my favorite.
Kind of depends on the mood I'm in. I think generally the constant is always bagels with me. Like I love bagels.
Bagels, really? You don't seem
Yeah,
like a bagel
I
kind of
eat
guy.
like 6 a day. Like that's my like thing.
You
Like
don't seem like a bagel guy to me, though. You seem like
really
a
what?
red meat and steak kind of like a potatoes kind of person.
Don't get me wrong. I also fit that, but it's just like bagels. They're like my breakfast food of choice. It's like why not?
Okay, I'll go with that.
I don't know why though. I think it's just because we had I started eating bagels when I was a kid, so I kind of force of habit kind of thing.
Got any favorite toppings?
Cream cheese.
And see, if anyone ever ate bagels, I think cream cheese is the only topping that's acceptable.
Yeah, see, there are people right who eat their bagels and they put like all sorts of crazy stuff on them, right? Like they put like lox on there, and they put like some people even put like meat on them. And I'm like, okay, at what point does it just become a burger, right? Like at what point are you not eating a bagel anymore and you're just eating like a burger?
Remember those bagel bites that you come out with a long time ago?
Yeah. Or like
They
McDonald's
still
does
do
that too.
that. They make
It's
pizza
just
out of their bagels.
it's dumb. It's like no, that defeats the purpose. And don't get me wrong, I love hamburgers too, but it's like if I want a burger, I'm just gonna eat a burger. I'm not gonna beat around the bush and try to call it like a bagel burger or something.
I mean, why not? I make up food all the time. Ask Lieutenant Cantu.
Yeah, but there's something it's wrong. That's what I always say. It's not correct.
It's
My opinion is fact. The
It's
world was
just
made
not
for me. If I don't
American.
like
That
it,
is
it's
the
not
most
allowed to exist.
that is the most American thing possible is making up a food.
Yeah. Deep fry. I had a friend who would deep fry everything. He had like a deep fryer in his house, and he would literally deep fry like once he deep fried water. He literally took it and like
You freeze it.
yeah, he and then he deep fried it. And I was like, but why though? And he was like, why not? I was like, yeah, all right, fine.
You
Fair
ever
enough.
had deep fried what's that stuff called? Cheesecake?
No,
Or deep fried pickles?
I do love cheesecake though, so maybe I should
Deep
try.
fried pickles are just amazing. Go to any fair, have it, and I swear to God you'll be addicted.
Yeah, so that's the most American thing. It's just deep frying random shit.
Oh God, yes. So when's your birthday?
January 6th, 1999.
Oh, so you just had a birthday. Wait,
Yeah.
you're that much younger than me?
Yeah, how old are you?
27. I'll be 27 next month. You child.
So yeah, so I've got the I've got the youthful sprightliness on you.
Oh God, I thought you were like my age.
I'm not sure if that's a compliment or an insult, so I'm gonna take it as a compliment.
I'll take it as either.
Yeah.
I really thought you were older. You said 1999 and it kind of blew me away.
It's funny, I get that a lot. I think it's 50% my shitty mic and then 50% the fact that I just generally have really shitty posture. So I lie back in my chair. I'm trying to like rearrange myself right now, and my voice gets like really deep, and it kind of sounds like this, like randomly, because I'm like collapsing my vocal cords, right? Then when I stand up, my voice is a little bit higher, and I think it sounds my age a little bit more. But yeah, I get it a lot.
So that makes you 19?
18.
18. Okay. So you're just now escaping the cusp of adolescence, and now you're going into like young adult.
Yeah,
Technically, it's still
yes.
teenager, but you're
Something
young
like
adult
that.
soon.
Yeah. Right. I got my draft card a few months back. That was exciting.
You did?
It's fun. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, you gonna do it?
What? I mean, I don't really have much of a choice, do I? It's like.
Are they really drafting people now?
No. You know, like you have to sign up for the Selective Service. I don't mean like I got drafted. I mean like how you have to enter the
Oh.
Selective Service.
I
No,
didn't know that.
because you're a woman. That's right. So you don't have to. I forgot. No, they don't make you do it. Yeah, no. If you're a guy, as soon as you turn 18, you get a letter from the government, and they say you have to sign up for the Selective Service, so that
I went into the military right after that, so
Yeah. No, that makes sense though. But they wouldn't have sent it to you. They wouldn't have sent it to you anyway, because girls don't have to do it. So
it'd be
so
funny if like they send it to me and just said, "Hey, you want to sign up for the military?" And I'm wearing my boots and my ABUs,
It's like,
and
yeah,
just
you're
staring at the paper.
You're a little
like,
late there, buddy.
I'm just
Yeah,
staring at the paper like if I had the option, I wouldn't have done it.
Although since you're prior service, that means that you're first in the line, right? If shit hits the fan, they draft prior military first, and then it's the
It
civvies.
depends on it depends on the reason you discharged.
Yeah, that's true. If you broke your leg.
If you just honorable, if like you went honorable and like you have all those stuff, then yeah, you're first in line. But
Yeah,
my
yeah.
job, I don't really think they would really want me back in my job, so they probably retrain me if anything happens.
Yeah, because they draft for infantry. They very rarely need to draft for technical positions because they don't
Yeah.
get killed. Not
Because
as
they don't
often.
get killed so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. What? Oh, do you have any kids?
I hope not.
Not that I'm aware of. All
Yeah,
those
not,
girls in Bangkok.
not the last time I checked. Yeah.
What city are you from?
Well, that'd be Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yep.
What's the weather like up there? I've never been.
It's cold.
Sucks,
Mostly.
it's near Maine.
Except during the summer, that it's really hot. But you get used to it. And frankly, I think just in terms of the weather alone, I think it's a pretty sweet deal. But it's also full of communists. So I'm trying to get the hell out of here.
Bunch of dirty commies everywhere.
The damn Reds.
They came back to get me after the war. All right. So, what do you do for a living?
Well, again, it kind of depends. I don't have a consistent sort of job, so depending on when you catch me, usually I'm not employed. It's not really something I'm too concerned about right now.
Okay, but you're in school, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, that sounds as something you're doing for a living. You're in school.
Well, I mean, in the long run, maybe, sure.
I mean, you have
they're
more
not
time
paying
in
me to
school than
go.
you
Though.
do.
That's for sure.
I'll count school as being a hobby or
Yeah,
being
alright.
a career. What do you do for a living? I attend school. You're like 40. I have 10 degrees.
I got kept back a few grades. Yeah, I was like 80 years old.
Yeah, he just collects degrees. That's his hobby.
I think there was a movie about that once, but I forget the name of it.
Do you have any tattoos?
Nope.
I knew you would say that because you don't seem like a tattoo kind of guy.
No, it's kind of degenerate, don't you think?
Huh?
It's kind of degenerate,
What do you
It's
mean?
like I don't know. It's like I was never into the whole just in general the like. I mean, hell, I barely even get haircuts. You know, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
just
I mean,
not super
I'm
into
not
the
saying
whole.
about how you look. It's just a lot of times. Well, you don't really seem like the guy that will run out and get a bunch of tattoos
Yeah,
because you kind of flop around a lot, and you don't really like. You say that you like tattoos like a huge commitment.
Wait a minute. What do you mean I flop around a lot? What's that
You said
supposed to
that
mean?
it depends on what day you would like to eat,
Oh,
what day
yeah.
you want to work.
I was insulted for a sec there. Then I realized you're just using my own words against me.
Yeah, I'm just saying what you told me. You said you flop
Yeah.
around.
Okay, well, food preferences are a whole different story. I mean, you can't extrapolate that information. But yeah, no, you guessed correctly. So
All right. So, if you could have any superpower for 24 hours, what would it be?
the ability to extend my time with. Wait, no, that actually wouldn't work. Because then I just have a really shitty superpower. It'd be like you have the ability
I
to
have the ability
continue
to extend
time.
my superpowers.
Yeah, I have the ability to keep time going. I don't know. It would Hmm. I would say, oh, okay, I figured out my loophole. I would say manipulate time because then I could not only like do all the fun stuff that you could do if you could like stop time and like mess with people and all that stuff, but I would also be able to reverse time at the end of the 24 hours and go back. So I could do like a Groundhog Day kind of thing where like I figure out how to fix everything in my life within the next like 24 hours, and then once I've squared all that away, I would then I would let the 24 hours run out, and then my superpower would no longer be needed.
So if you did that, then wouldn't all the work you did on that first one run out?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you like remember how to do it. So like, because you know, if you have an infinite number of chances, right, you'd figure out like the most efficient way of figuring everything out. So you know, it would be like a whole bunch of trial and error, but you would eventually get to a point where you could, you know, not like save the world, but you could like you could definitely like redirect everything so that it basically all starts from that day, like going in exactly the direction you want it to be going. You know what I mean?
I
If
can
you
see
figure out how
that.
to square all that away.
But that would also include a whole lot of math, and no one said you'd be good at math.
Hey, why does it need math? It'd just be a matter of reversing time when you're done with the 24 hours and go back.
Probably if I was doing that, what I would do is just go for super intelligence and just like solve every single world crisis within 24 hours and then just sit back on the benefits.
True. Oh, or you know what else would be good? Would be to have the superpower to become somebody else, and that way you could just pick somebody who you want to be instead, become them, and then you just stay them when the 24 hours are up.
But you have to kill them.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Because
They
it's
won't
too
know
walk
it.
around.
They won't know it.
Oh god, you'd be a glorified lookalike.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, sure. You could just make
Okay,
something up.
I can see it.
Just wake up at the beginning of the 24 hours and just be like, ah, God came to me in a vision, and now I'm a new man or something, and it,
And now I'm
you
a
know,
new man. Like you
you get
mean
you get a few
mentally? No,
strange looks,
physically.
but you could make it work.
Okay, I can see that. So, what do you do when you're not working in third ID?
I work for the third ID. That's what I
You
do.
don't call this
I,
work?
no, I mean, I sit here and it's like if I'm not actively doing something, chances are I'm getting ready to be doing something. So, I may not be, you know, online and squaring shit away, but I'll be preparing my paperwork or getting ready or thinking about what needs to be squared away, messing with my to-do lists and reprioritizing things on the calendar and all that jazz so that I'm ready to go on.
You
So
don't,
yeah, that's me, workaholic.
you don't have any other hobbies you do?
I take baths. That's
Okay,
that.
I'll give it to you. Okay, so what's your favorite style of music?
Oh boy, I don't really have one, to be honest. I just kind of like what like if you look at my playlist, like it's just a bunch of completely random, unrelated stuff that I happen to think sounds good. You know what I mean? Like I don't adhere to one style. I think if I had to point to like one that I particularly enjoy relatively consistently, I'd say stuff from like the 1940s and 50s. Like that kind of genre of music. But no, I mean, you can throw me some like heavy metal from like a year ago, and if it's got the right right chords and the right tune, I'll like it. You can throw me some ragtime music from like the 1910s, and I'll enjoy it. Hell, I even find myself listening to like old gramophone records from like the 1800s, and I
You know,
still like it.
funny thing about that is that's actually me. I found a hard
Yeah, I
time
think it's a
meeting
lot
people
of
like that
people.
because I listen to everything. Everything
Yeah,
from country to
yeah,
yodeling to
yeah,
whatever. If it has a good beat and I can bob my head to it,
yeah.
I listen to it.
And not even that too is I take pride on that because a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like I'll listen to any genre, but it always has to be like fast and upbeat. Like literally, you'll go on my playlist and like one song will be like an 18-minute like classical piece. The next song will be like Britney Spears, and then the next song coming up will be opera. You know what I mean? Like it's completely unrelated. Like all of it is like totally just completely random. and yet I enjoy all of it. So I've been kind of trying to think and like figure out like what's the thread that ties it all together. You know what I mean? Like everyone has like that one thing that's like that makes the song good or bad for them, but I can't figure it out. It's like completely
So
unrelated.
if I were to get you, like I'm supposed to pick a song for the end of the podcast to play, because if you watch and listen to podcast, there's always a song that plays. And I usually use this part to know what song I'm using. So basically, I'm just gonna go to like my shuffle, like a shuffle playlist, and just hit shuffle and next, and whatever song comes up, that's what's gonna be there.
Oh, jeez. I'm trying to think if there's like a perfect. Now you've got me like running through my playlists here and like trying to figure out like.
Don't worry, I'll pick something. I will pick something. You will see what it is, and we're gonna move on to the next question.
All right, sounds good. If I think of something like halfway through, I'll let you know.
All right, sounds good. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I do. I have one. Is a
Boy,
younger
girl?
brother.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 5 years on him. So.
Oh, you guys close, or you guys? Or I mean, like live close, or does he live?
Oh yeah.
around?
Well, yeah. I mean, he's how old is he?
17.
See, I've got 5 years
Well,
on him, so
actually-
he'd be 13. So he's 13. So
Oh.
yeah, he still lives with us.
He is young.
Mm-hmm.
Get him to
Well,
play.
yeah, like I said,
we
I got
need some more soldiers.
No, but he plays on a Mac though. So
Then we can have another Hermanson.
actually, didn't they have I think Arma does run on Mac now, doesn't it?
I don't think so.
I think it does. I believe it does.
It might. I haven't really looked into it. So
It
probably.
didn't used to, but I remember they like changed it. They were like, "Oh, look, now it's on Mac." Like that
Now
was
it's on everywhere because Arma will be in everyone's house and everyone will love Arma and Arma's life.
actually looking that up now.
It
Curious.
is. It is on Microsoft OS and Linux. It's not on Macs.
That's strange to me. I know they were working on it. Like I remember reading in a dev. Okay. The development client is on Mac, so they're working on a dev for Mac, with a lot of
Okay.
limitations. But it's like for example, they don't have the advanced flight model for helicopter simulation because the Mac can't handle the rotor lib simulator. But
It can't handle the graphics. There's too much graphics for the
you
Mac.
can't handle the truth. But yeah, and the performance is apparently 30% worse, with maximum draw distance set to 4,000 meters on Mac. So it sucks. Basically, is
I don't
is
know
the-
much about PC talk. I'm gonna assume that blah 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 is gonna
It's-
explode.
Put simply, it's worse.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any nicknames?
No, actually, I was very disappointed by that when I was a kid. I always tried to get people to call me a nickname, but I could never think of a good one. So
Hermie? I've heard that sometime.
actually, yeah, I have heard that on occasion, but it never really caught on. There was just one kid who ever called me that. And so
I
it
thought
was
he used to call you that all the time.
yeah, well, you did. Yeah, no, but back like before I joined the unit, there was one kid who called me Hermie. But there was no one else who called me that, and so I never really acquired a nickname. I was just always just Ethan.
Okay. What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, jeez, where do I start?
Those damn Reds.
Yeah, you're the dirty communist. I don't know. I think I'd have to say. I mean, I have a lot of pet peeves, so it kind of depends on what what topic, what genre you're asking me about. I think just in general, if I had to pick one of them off the top of my head, I'd say people who like just got into something, like something that you're like into, and because they like watched one video on it, or like because they just started learning about it, they think that they're like a total expert on it and they know everything they're talking about. Like that's a pet peeve for me. Like
Oh God.
like
I know those
politics,
people.
for example. Here's an example, right? Like I've always been super interested in politics. Yeah,
like,
and
be careful.
yeah, and especially like this election, right? Like a lot of people started like getting into it, which is good because I think civic engagement is a good thing. But the problem is you get these people who like their exposure to politics consists of like watching John Oliver on Saturdays, right? And then they come in and they talk like they're like the most intelligent, like most advanced theses and ideas that have ever been known to man when they're really just regurgitating this one talk show host. You know what I mean? And it's like, if that's your exposure to politics, like fine, like that's great. Like it's good that you're invested in it. But, don't go around acting like you're a pro because, you just got into it. And the
I
same
don't
thing
pay
around, like,
attention to politics at
I
all.
think we're all, like, and another way of putting it, it's like we're all into video games, right? And I think all of us, if we're here in this unit, we probably spend more than is healthy playing these fucking things. And, everyone has that one kid in their class, right? Or that guy at their work who, like, plays Call of Duty or something. And he's like, yeah, I'm a gamer. Like, wow, I love playing on Xbox. Like, oh, wow, I'm so cool. And he's, like, always trying to act like he's just, like, the most, like squared away gamer guy, like everyone knows. And so everyone's like, wow, did you hear about the crazy new game? And he's like, yeah, dude, I play that on my Xbox all the time. And you're sitting there like building your own PC, and people are, this guy's acting like he knows your trade. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck off.
I mean, you can totally be a gamer, like on console, but Call of Duty is one of those games that if you just keep buying the same Call of Duty year after year after year after year,
that's my problem. Like, look, if you're a console gamer, like, fine, that's its own thing. You know what I mean? Like, there are definitely console gamers who are like super into it, and they can like take they take apart their consoles, and like they know how to like fine. Like, I'll always joke about the PC gaming master race, but they're clear to do their own thing. Whatever. And it is an objectively, the PC is an objectively better platform, but you know what? Like, you do you. If you like consoles.
Yeah.
But if you're the guy who, whose experience with video games consists of like Madden and like Call of Duty, like don't go around acting like you know what you're talking about. It's like spare
That's like the
us
equivalent of how we see somebody that plays Farmville.
Yeah, right. It's like yeah, like that's like that would be like the extreme.
I play Candy Crush. I game.
Right. Those are the worst people. You know what I mean? Like, oh well, I play Angry Birds on my iPhone. I'm such a cool gamer. It's like, no, you're not. It's like I don't mind you being interested in it. Like, if you want to like get more into it, like that's great. But don't come and like kick down the door and act like you're a pro of the genre because you're not. You know what I mean? And that would be one of my like key pet peeves.
We should have a section on the podcast where you always come back and it's like, what really grinds my gears?
And now, things that piss Hermanson off.
So what, do you have any guilty pleasures?
Yeah, but if I tell you, they wouldn't be guilty pleasures now, would they?
Not really. They wouldn't be secret pleasures anymore.
Yeah, you're not getting those out of me. My lips are sealed. I used to have some really crazy ones, and then I outgrew them. I think of like really stupid. There was one, but I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, no, that remains a secret.
You gotta share something.
Nope, that's a secret. Mum's the word. If I get shot in Arma or something, it'll be my last words, and someone will record it. Then we can publish it, and everyone will see. But that's you gotta earn that from me. You gotta earn that from me. Yeah.
If you can learn it, then you get promotion points.
Yeah. Hey, if there's anyone in the Roughnecks right now listening to this, my offer still stands. When I was the squad leader, I promised them that anybody who shot down an aircraft, like an enemy aircraft with an AT-4, I would buy them a game on Steam. So that still stands. If anyone in 2nd Squad, 2nd Platoon, Alpha Company shoots down an aircraft with their AT-4, I will buy you a game. That's still a thing. Talking about deals that I intend to keep.
You're gonna get them to waste all their AT-4s.
They did on several
and then
occasions.
A BMP is gonna show up, and they're all gonna die.
Yeah, well, that's their prerogative, It's what are they prioritizing?
Wait a minute. Technically, they could be right. What if the chopper's taken off and it's like a couple feet off the ground and they hit it?
Well, they almost did once, because there was a mission way back when I was still a squad leader, and there were a bunch of planes taking off from the airfield. This was back during Bronzefire. And there were a bunch of planes taking off on an airfield, and they were launching AT-4s at them. And unfortunately, it was like the end of the mission, so we were all out of AT-4s. We only had one, and they missed. So then we shot down a bunch of planes with small arms with our rifles, but we didn't get them with the AT-4s, so they didn't get any games that day. But the offer still stands.
All right.
Yet
Well, you guys
unclaimed.
hear it out there. Make it happen. Now, what's something you can never live without?
My computer. Actually,
I
not
can-
true. Not true. Not. Well, yes. If I'm assuming internet access, I would say computer. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, when you say computer, that includes Wi-Fi and all stuff that
Oh
makes
yeah.
computers
Oh
work.
yeah. And I assume that the question is ignoring like life essential things like food, air,
Yeah, food and water. I mean, this
yeah,
is
yeah. No, but yeah.
As in, I drop you off on an island and I tell you,
Yeah.
all right, you can have a computer with enough
Stick me.
electricity to run your computer and internet. And that's it.
Yeah, sweet. And as long as I'm getting like deliveries of food and like essential supplies, like I'd be happy as a clam.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning. Like if I lived in a forest, as long as I had Wi-Fi and a computer, I would like get one of those tiny houses. I would love that.
Yeah, get like a container house. Like
Yeah.
like the hipsters nowadays are like cutting open shipping containers and making houses out of them. Like just do
I
that.
would love it.
Although the audio would be terrible because you'd get a bunch of reverb on your mic, but you'd make it work.
Name something on your bucket list.
Join the military. That's always been the plan. So I want to make sure I do that. I think if that doesn't happen, I'll always be very disappointed in myself. So the plan I think is going to be after college, go in as an officer if I can hack it. If not, go in as enlisted. But
Sounds good.
I
can't wait to see Butterbar Hermanson.
Yeah, but I figure if it's one of those things that like I wanted to do for so long that if I wake up at 40 and I flaked on it because I was doing some stupid shit, I'm just gonna be like, why didn't I do it? Like, why didn't I pursue that?
I get you.
At least to try it. I do 4 years. In worst case scenario, I just don't like it and I leave. Big deal. But that I think I have to experience that or something like it. You know what I mean? Like if I end up, maybe I'll be a cop and like be on a SWAT team or something. You know what I mean? Like just something in that vein. I think would be important.
All right, sounds great. Name your favorite movie and why.
Oh boy. Well. Now usually I would say Saving Private Ryan, right? Would be that. But I've been watching so many like incredibly good war films recently that really put Saving Private Ryan to shame that I don't know if I can still in good faith say that Saving Private Ryan remains my favorite war movie. Jeez. I've seen a lot of really good movies lately. Am I allowed to do miniseries?
I'm going to allow this.
Yeah, then I would say Band of Brothers, I think there's Ken, you mentioned you were watching that.
I really gotta get back to watching that.
But yeah, Band of Brothers I think has a little bit of everything and it does everything right. You know what I mean? It's like, it's got action, it's got incredibly good character development. I mean really, really good character development, all the more so because they can do it over like 10 episodes as opposed to over an hour and a half, you know what I mean? So they can really flesh out these characters and really get into their motivations and what makes them tick. It's got that fantastic aspect of like camaraderie, it's not just like there are some movies that have great character development, but like, there's not really anyone other than perhaps a deuteragonist to bounce off of. So, but Band of Brothers is a whole company of guys, and they all have different interactions with each other, and every single character is incredibly well fleshed out. It doesn't pull any punches either, which I respect. I'm not going to spoil it for you because I know you're only a few episodes in, but people die, people who you've known for a while, and like, a lot of movies don't have the guts to do that. You know what I mean? Or if they do, it's just one character. But there are scenes where like 10 people who you've known for like 15 episodes are just dead. And it's like
that's war.
It's like I wasn't ready for this, but it happens, and I respect that. And it's even got for people if if you're like a softer kind of guy, it's even got like episodes with like a little bit of mid-war like romance and whatnot. Like French girl in the church and all that jazz. So literally, I think if you had one thing that like one movie, one series that you could like that you were stuck with for the rest of your life, it'd be Band of Brothers because you get a little bit of everything depending on which episodes you pull out.
Okay, sounds good. Now, tell me a funny story about an embarrassing moment that happened to you.
Oh, geez. You're not going to believe me, but I actually can't think of any. I'm not sure if it's because they just haven't happened recently or because I've blocked those memories out, but I
I'm
cannot think
repressing
of.
memories. We gotta
Yeah,
hypnotize you.
I can't think of anything really like super embarrassing that's happened to me in the last couple of years.
All right.
Like I
So
just
tell me about your proudest achievement then.
oh boy. Well, there's a couple of those, and I'll try not to be too cliche and be like, "Oh, I got into college," because I feel like that's kind of a given. Let's see. It's a tough question.
I mean, a lot of people haven't been to college, so like it's all of you on.
True. But I feel like because for me it was kind of a different. The thing with me is that I applied to so many colleges, right? That like I was guaranteed to get into at least one of them. So it wasn't like it wasn't a crazy big thing for me. I was definitely proud of the colleges that I ended up getting into, and so I'm super excited about that. But um, I didn't walk away feeling like I had done something incredible, because I knew I was gonna go to college. It was just a question of where. Um, Proudest achievement. Well, gee.
Maybe achieving the slot you currently hold in 3rd Infantry,
Yeah, that was a good one for sure.
or hell, even going to Rome. I've never been there.
I wasn't in Rome.
Where was it? Italy?
Paris.
Huh? Paris.
Yeah,
There
I
you
was
go.
in Paris, and then I was in London.
Yep, I've never been overseas, so no, I've
Oh,
never
damn!
been.
Well, you're missing out.
I've never been. I've been overseas, but I've never been to
Yeah, hurry
to
fast before it gets destroyed. But
that.
yeah, no, the trick. Yeah, no, I think come to think of it, I think if I had to pick something, I think it would definitely be that. I think way back when, it's been a couple months now at this point. I think, you know what they say, time flies when you're having fun. But definitely being selected, I think for this position was a big honor for me. Um, Especially all the more so because it was some time in the making. I was turned down once for a similar position way back when. I think you remember that. There was a little bit of a thing going on for that.
Yeah, we'll just leave that in the past where it belongs.
Yep. And and so I really felt after that that I had sort of been resting on my laurels for too long. I had kind of gotten to this mindset of like, oh, my destiny is to move upwards. And that was a real kick in the face, a kick in the face that I needed. That was basically, you don't deserve anything. You get what you get by working for it. And if you aren't working hard enough, then you don't get it. And I worked my ass off. And when the time came around and, LT Worrell came to me and said, look, you're it. You want it? I think it felt better because, I got it because I knew that I had, outshone the competition, to not to be a dick about it, but I had gotten there based on my merits, and that was, I think knowing that you're in a position because you deserve to be there and not because you've been put there, through divine ordinance, I think definitely has an incredible morale boost that can't really be overstated.
All right, and that is the end of our man behind the rank. So he made it through.
Oh, yeah. What's my time? Did I beat the record?
Not yet, because we still have to do mod of the month.
Oh, good.
So mod of the month is one you brought to me actually. Do you have a link to it?
Well, I doubt I brought it to you. Here, I can find it. Give me 2 seconds.
It's if you look at the script that I sent you, right there.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah, there it is.
I think about everything.
Look at you, you're always prepared. It's also in our mod pack, for the record. It comes in our optional mod category. You want me to say it, or are you gonna say it?
Oh, that's you. You picked it.
Oh, that's me. I'm on the spot. Okay, I thought I was waiting for like the cue. Yeah. So I think I was asked to select a mod of the month, and I was kind of poking around. I heard people that said RHS. I heard people that said the third ID mod pack and all that. And I was like, well, okay, someone's definitely said Shack Tack, right? And Stern First Class Johnson said, no one said Shack Tack. And I said, what? How could that be? So that was the one I put up. I think the vast majority, I'd say, if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say upwards of 85-90% of the unit, I think, uses ShackTac if you're an alpha company. For those of you who are in the minority 10%, either because you just joined and you haven't had a chance to poke around the recommended mod list, or just because you don't think it's your style. I know First Sergeant, for example, hates it. He thinks it's stupid, but it is, I think, by and large, the most useful, the best, and incredibly well executed Arma mod that there is. I think there are definitely bigger mods out there, like bigger, badder, like crazier. RHS, for example, like adds a shit ton of stuff. And like you could get, even something like Acre or Task Force Radio. Is like a much more complicated overhaul of the game's mechanics. But ShackTac has just become so ubiquitous in the way that squads and elements operate that, to me, it's almost cheating. It's just that important. So important, actually, that Vanilla Arma co-opted the mod and turned it into part of the base game. For those of you who don't use it, it's basically a little mini-map that goes on the bottom of your screen that shows you the members of your group in relation to you, as well as compass bearings, and it is phenomenally useful. I know First Sergeant, if he's listening to this, is shaking his head and saying, no, it's stupid, it's unrealistic, you don't get that in real life. But what you don't get in real life, what you don't get in Arma is what you do have in real life, which is a sense of situational and peripheral awareness. And ShackTac gives that to you. Because in real life, you kind of know where people are in relation to you. You know what I mean? You don't constantly need to be looking over your shoulder to realize that your buddy is standing behind you. But in Arma, you don't have that. So ShackTac fills that gap, and it is so useful for simple things like keeping formation to things like making sure everyone is pulling security properly. I could not live without it.
Funny thing, I honestly got it for the sole purpose of for Ranger School, because I found out that Ranger School didn't let you have a compass, and I thought it was going to give you a constant compass, so I wasn't going to get lost.
No. If you don't have a compass, it doesn't give you a compass, and that's another thing I like about it too.
I got to Ranger School.
And that's another thing I like about it too, because a lot of people complain like, "Oh, it's too overpowered," but it's not really, because all it does is give you information you would have in real life. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was saying. Like, if you don't have a compass, it's not going to give you a compass. And the only thing you get is this mini map. And it's not even so much a mini map as it is just a situational awareness thing. It only reaches out to like 15 meters away from you, so it's not like you're going to know where your guys are at all times. By all means, you will still get lost if you get lost. You know what I mean? I've been lost plenty of times, even with ShackTac enabled. But it's just nice for that sort of close quarters tweaking. This like, oh, I'm facing forward, my buddy's facing right. The guy next to me should be facing left, but he's also facing right. Like sort of quick on the spot corrections and whatnot. As a squad leader, as a team leader, absolutely essential, invaluable. I think it should be mandatory.
So the weird thing about when I was messing with ShackTac was, if we, like, remember those missions where it was just complete dark, back when Cup Terrains was being not Cup Terrains, but All in Armor Terrain Pack was being relentless and was messing with us a bunch?
Yeah.
I used that to navigate, because I would get next to the dots and like, all right, I'm looking at the map. Okay, these dots are near me. Okay, we're going to move that way. And we just start running in the general direction and hoping we're maintaining formation. If I looked at the map and said, all right, I only see 3 dots, I'm supposed to see 4. Where's the other guy at?
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
All right. But yeah, that brings us to the end of our official podcast. I'd love to thank Sergeant First Class Hermanson for joining me today.
Yeah, you're welcome. I thought you were going to say something else.
No, okay. But that is all we have today. So, for the same rank, I don't have to ask permission to drop the stream. I'm going to do it anyway. Permission to drop the stream.
What's my time first?
You're sitting at about a little over an hour.
That's sweet. All right, perfect. I hit the middle ground just like I wanted. Okay, permission granted. Cut the cord.
All right, this is Sergeant First Class Johnson and
me, Sergeant First Class Hermanson.
Reporting out. Stay frosted, IP. Top of the Mars. Cool.
Well.